Welcome everyone to my final presentation in Nationalism and Transnationalism Ideologies class. Historically, nations around the world believed that power derived from God through an absolutist monarch. The post-Enlightenment era led to the abandonment of such a belief. Instead, it gave new birth to different forms of nationalism, such as ethnic nationalism, civic nationalism, cultural nationalism, and many more. Most recent one is anti-colonial nationalism. Broadly speaking, nationalism is the ideological belief that nations are the ones who construct the political entity and not vice versa. Some prominent examples of such a belief are the French Revolution and the American War of Independence. Nation-building process is never easy. In some cases, people have done it peacefully, such as the break of Czechoslovakia in 1993, but in most circumstances, it requires violence, such as the case of India-Pakistan, Britain and Ireland, and most recently, the bloody conflict that granted self-determination to the world's youngest country, South Sudan. This is an interdisciplinary video that covers different topics throughout the course. It includes Benedict Anderson's idea of imagined political communities and also includes different forms of banal nationalism. On today's occasion, 26th of October, I'm reporting the cold version or the civic form of nationalism on the Austrian National Day.
Was heißt halt so die Nationalfeiertag für dich heute?
Heute ist mein Tag wieder der Freude, dass man hinausgehen kann, feiern und wirklich, dass wir friedlich daher in Österreich wohnen können.
Gemeinschaft, also quasi Österreich als Gemeinschaft anzuerkennen und auch zu sehen und dass Zusammenhalt gefragt ist und jeder für jeden da ist und für einen einsteht.
Welche Bedeutung hat es, ein Staatsbürger zu sein?
Ich glaube, das Bewusstsein dafür und die Bedeutung ist, glaube ich, für jeden individuell. Und die Bewusstseinsbildung hängt damit zusammen, wie sehr man sich damit auseinandersetzt.
Was meinen Sie mit dem Begriff Österreich?
Ja, meine Heimat, Staatsbürgerschaft Österreich. Also ich bin hier geboren und werde hier wahrscheinlich auch sterben. Also das ist meine Heimat.
Ja, also erstmal das Land Österreich, aber auch das Land, was natürlich im Zweiten Weltkrieg ja auch als in Anführungszeichen das erste Opfer des Nazi-Deutschlands war und dementsprechend auch eines der ersten Länder, was nach dem Zweiten Weltkrieg auch sich wieder für Demokratie, Freiheit und die Werte, die wir jetzt hier leben und auch natürlich die Neutralität, ein sehr wichtiges Thema auch heutzutage.
Welche Eigenschaft Österreichs achten Sie als die wichtigste?
Friede und Freiheit, würde ich sagen.
Dass wir Frieden haben, Zusammenhalt, die Kultur.
What constitutes a national identity? What makes you say that you are an American?
Well, given that I am from the States and the States are so diverse, I don't think it's a single language that unites us. I think it's the fact that we are so different and we're able to bring so many perspectives to bear on different issues. And we all just have a sense of wanting to come together as one to, project this idea of like democracy before everyone else. So yeah.
Im Vergleich zum Griechenland, also was ist wirklich besonders an Österreich zum Beispiel? Also ist es Lebensqualität oder?
Lebensqualität,
Ja.
Bürokratie ist besser hier, ruhige Leben. In Griechenland ist es schöner natürlich, das Meer und so, aber hier ist es besser zum Leben. In Griechenland ist es nur zum Urlaub machen.
Okay.
Ja.
Wie wichtig halt sind Kultur und Traditionen hier in Österreich?
Ich glaube, da muss man ein bisschen differenzieren, weil auf dem Land und Stadt natürlich, vor allem Wien und Rest Österreich. Ich komme persönlich aus Kärnten und bei uns kann ich sagen, ist Tradition, Kultur und so das oberste Gut, was natürlich nicht immer so vom Vorteil ist, weil es ein bisschen den Progressivismus so ein bisschen blockiert. Aber in Wien zum Beispiel finde ich das absolut das Gegenteil. Also es gibt hier, ich finde, da ist ein sehr gutes Zusammenspiel zwischen eben Tradition und auch Fortschritt und so. Da haben sie es wirklich sehr gut zusammengekriegt, im Gegensatz zu anderen Bundesländern. Aber ich glaube, in Österreich ist es sehr, sehr wichtig für die Leute, also das beizubehalten.
I guess you're both Bulgarians, or
Yes.
okay. What makes you say that you are Bulgarian? Is it the language, the traditions that you have, or like what makes you associate yourself with other million of Bulgarians? Like what is it about it?
For me, is the folklore and traditions, because I'm a professional dancer, folklore dancer, and yeah, this is the most important for me, for my country.
Well, for me, the traditions too, and the history of Bulgaria, which is it's very, very long, very ancient, I would say, and yeah, and also everything connected to Bulgaria. We have so much things. Yeah, and the country, of course, it's beautiful.
What is it that makes you American?
I think for being an American it's difficult, especially in the political climate today. I think because there's a certain demographic of Americans who I don't necessarily think would answer the same way as I do. I think America is built on we're a nation of immigrants, and so we're people who come from all over, and I think that like the love of freedom, the love of democracy and representation, even though that is something that's maybe eroding in our national system. So yeah, I think like people who love dialogue, people who want to learn and who want to, experience, and I don't know, it's difficult today though. Yeah.
Since like the world has seen like so much modernization, like new nation states started to emerge, do you think that there's a correlation between modernization or economic development and the emergence of nation states?
Well, I do consider myself as being a European more than like maybe a few years ago. Also because I learned a few more languages. I speak German now and English, and my French is getting there, and my Spanish. So
wow,
I feel
so
like
many.
more connected to other countries as well. Like now we're in Austria, and we actually both speak German, which is like really helpful here. So yeah, it makes you think that you're European. That's good.
I think if we're talking about economics, I think that there's a lot the international the International Monetary Fund or like international organizations that sort of oversee global processes. Like there's an infrastructure that certainly favors more powerful like Western states, in my opinion, as opposed to like nascent or like emerging states. And so I think that it is harder for some, perhaps like who lack fiscal resources, to like get the same representation on a global stage. But I think, and I think obviously there's like political factors too. So like for Hong Kong, like, you know, there's the CCP's influence now that's like really come in, and like we can see that observably taking effect. Or I don't know, like, or like you use Catalonia as well. I don't necessarily know like. I don't know like how much influence Catalonia is going to have like on its own, separate from the Spanish nation. Yeah. So I don't know, to that extent I would say maybe not so much, but I also think that like the internet itself is playing, like the internet as a tool for discourse, and globalization in general is a way to sort of like promote representation like from those underrepresented states. So I think we might see more of that coming forward, but I don't know if like they'll gain the same power as like the US as a whole, or like Germany, for example, or China. Like government structures, I think always will like take precedence over emerging movements.
So what's your opinion today on the Austrian National Day? Do you have anything to say about it?
Yeah, for sure. Like Austria has a complicated history with nationalism, that's for sure. And now the whole parade that we're seeing with the militaries on the streets, that's something you don't see that often in South America, for example. You don't bring on our National Day the militaries and the tanks to the center of the city, because that remembers periods of history that are very dark for us. So for me, now seeing the whole military people here on the streets is pretty uncomfortable. And they talk about security, but when I see them, I actually feel very insecure, because I don't know what they could do at any moment.
That is true, but you're also aware that Austria is like a neutral country. It has like a neutral agreement that it cannot enter any war. But would you say that, taking the fact that you saw the military today, would you say this is the hot version of nationalism or the cold version of nationalism?
It's for sure the hard version of nationalism. I mean, if you're neutral, if you're a neutral state, you are in no position or in no need to show your military power. Towards whom is this military power shown, and for what purpose?
So as you guys watched, a lot of different topics were represented in this video, such as imagined political communities, invented traditions, banal nationalism, and even a unified language.
To conclude, nowadays we live in modern-day nation-states, which Benedict Anderson refers to as imagined political communities. Therefore, a fellow citizen would never get to know everyone within that nation because it's impossible. Thank you very much for watching, and cheers. Merry Christmas.